Hello and welcome everyone to Boss Lady Summit for June 2024. It's a winter in Sydney and we've got Loretta Remy and Karen Clark with us. How you doing, Loretta and Karen Clark? What's going on, you two?
I'm doing great.
Hi everyone. We've got an intimate group today, I see.
Yeah, we got Loretta and Karen with us. Who knows, we have about like 15 panelists and usually 4 or 5 will show up. But the point is whoever's come here are the people that matter, but we might have some panelists later on. So just want to say, while we've got you all, if you just come in, like, share, comment, and a bit of trivia. Loretta's one of our fantastic friends from Florida. She's a top community leader and business leader. And we've got Karen Clark. Karen Clark is actually from the Gold Coast, which is like Australian Florida, you would say. And she's a top community leader as well. So today's topic we're actually talking about is mindset and abundance. And look no further than Loretta Remy and Karen Clark. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about mindset, abundance. We're going to keep it open and see where it goes. If you just come in, like, share, comment. Now we're going to start with Loretta and then Karen. Loretta, I just want to talk to you generally about abundance and mindset. Just tell us, what's your interpretation of abundance and mindset, and what does it mean to us in this current crazy age that we live in?
Well, I think with abundance, we have to realize the abundance that we have, whether that's in abundance of love, abundance of friendships, or so forth. We tend to look at what we don't have and not look at what we do have. And that's where the abundance comes in. And that's also connected with mindset. I think mindset and abundance, connect each other. Again, with mindset, if you focus on the negative, then you're going to find more of that. Where if you focus on the positive, or, the fun things, or the better things, or the smarter things, however you want to phrase it and everything, then you will see that more of that comes through. I think sometimes we could have, $1 million and, everything we've ever wanted, but we'll find that one thing, that one wrinkle, that one hair out of place or something. And we focus on that, and our life is horrible. It's a mess because, some small little thing and everything. So.
Yeah. It sounds like you're describing me, Loretta. I'm feeling very uncomfortable right now as Loretta talks, because I feel like sort of hiding or interrupting lunch. But no, you've just described me, which is probably really bad. Loretta, great opening. We love you, Loretta. Round of applause to Loretta. Now I'm just letting in the amazing Christina Davey. Christina Davey, how are you? Big welcome.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello, Loretta. Hi, Karen. Hi, Edward. So good to see you all again.
Welcome. Now, we're just talking about abundance. We're going to hear from Karen Clark and then bounce to you, Christina Davey. Karen Clark, tell us what you think about mindset and abundance, and watch me get extremely uncomfortable with my body.
No, I'm going to do the opposite, Ed. I'm going to give you some hope. So it's really interesting that most people don't realize there's a simple way to trick our mind. It's actually our unconscious mind into manifesting abundance. So we're talking about mindset and abundance here together. Studies, like all the transformational people and people I follow and learn from and have learned from, have shown that our brain can't, and with my master practitioner training, that our brain actually can't tell the difference between imagination and reality. And so if you imagine something and imagining it and experiencing it triggers the exact same chemical. So if it's real and you're experiencing something, or if you're imagining that you're experiencing something, the same chemicals are triggered by the brain. And so as far as your brain's concerned, what you imagine is happening is actually happening. And so when you tell your brain it's abundant, it triggers the chemicals and neurological patterns that can actually shift your mindset from scarcity to abundance. And we're talking about abundance in a way that we're all worthy of it, abundant in your health, abundance in your relationships, abundance in your financial freedom. And so this is why affirmations work. If you tell your brain what reality, whatever reality you want to create, you can make it happen, because it attracts, then it, with the chemicals it releases, it thinks it's really happened, which actually helps to cause it to happen. Can we follow that? Yes.
Well said. Well said. So my self-esteem plummeted when Loretta called me out. Now Karen Clark's built me up a little bit. But don't worry, we've got Christina Davey and we got Sabina to come in and keep it moving. Big wave to Sabina. How you doing, Sabina?
I'm good, thank you. How are you, Edward, and beautiful ladies?
Hi.
Love seeing you.
Hi, Sabina.
Hi.
Christina Davey, then we're going to bounce to Sabina. So Christina Davey, what are some of your thoughts and reactions about this amazing conversation?
I love it. I think it's necessary as well. I was just reflecting this morning on something that I wanted to share. When I grew up, nobody around me had any plans or goals or vision. So how do you manifest abundance when you have no target? How do you manifest abundance when you don't really know what you want and you don't understand what it takes to get you there? We manifest abundance when we decide, I want this. What is it specifically that I want? And then I turn that into a goal. I think it's important to have a vision for your life, a vision for your relationship, a vision for your health. And then you choose a goal. You choose, okay, this is exactly what I want. We are being specific. And now what are the steps that are going to get me there? And that's how we create abundance. So growing up without anyone around me that had any sort of goals, my mom was the most driven one in the family, but her goals were revolving around renovating the kitchen or, buying a new rug in the house, right? So very, very different mindset. So she never really had goals in achieving something bigger than, something around the house or supporting her children to achieve something. So I turned into a young adult and I had no direction. I had no idea about goals. I went working on cruise ships just because I knew I loved traveling and I was so thirsty for growth and getting to know the world. But I had no plans. I had no goals. How do you turn things into abundance when you don't really know where you're going and you don't have a way of measuring it? So if we want abundance, we need a mindset for it as well, but we need to believe we can do it, and we need to be very specific on what is it that we want to create when it comes to abundance.
Oh, well said. Christina Davey, well said, lined up beautifully, my powerful friend. Also, too, we've got Amy Hammond with us, who's coming in a bit later on. We love you. Big wave to Amy Hammond. She's going to be coming in shortly. And I'm just going to add her to the live stream. Can we all wave to Amy Hammond? How you doing, Amy?
Hello.
I'm dying to know, Edward, where so Loretta took you down, Karen took you up, and where did I took you? Was it just
neutral? Neutral. So right now my self-esteem is, I went from despair to feeling okay, and I'm just I'm posting on 5 out of 10 right now. So there we go. A big way. We'll go from Amy Hammond. Well, we got Sabina with us. Sabina, tell us what you think about mindset and abundance. Then we're going to hit up Amy Hammond.
Well, I don't know. So now I'm wondering if those ladies took you there and there. I've really got nowhere to go. Right, I've got to.
Oh, no, you can thank. I reckon you should thank me. That'll be funny.
Actually, yeah. Okay. Sorry about that. So, abundance. I think about abundance in health. But one thing, going back on what Karen said, I listened to a quote this morning, and I meditate a lot. And I find that when you meditate, you download. There's this beautiful, I don't know, it's a quote or whatever, beautiful line that says basically, when you pray to God, and when you meditate, God talks to you. And so I really believe that. And so I was randomly writing all these things down, and I think. The universe or God or whatever you want to believe, it doesn't actually care what you want or doesn't consider what you want. It's about what you think. And if you think it's possible, then there's a chance. Well, not a chance, it is. So yeah, having that abundance mindset is so important. And I was talking about to my son actually, who's just done the athletics. There's a guy called Roger Bannister. I don't know if you've heard of Roger Bannister. And so what he did is he was the man who ran the first, the 4-minute mile.
Yeah.
And they asked him how he did it. And he's like, did you train really hard? And he trained really hard. They said one of the key factors was that he rehearsed it in his mind again and again. Yeah. And going back to what you said, Karen, it's so true is, when we imagine, or when we do hypnosis, I do hypnosis with a lot of people, we can be there in that moment and use our mind when we, so I think if after Roger Bannister did it, everybody did it because they believed it was possible. Before it was it was not humanly possible. So going off that, I'm going off on a tangent now, sorry. But yeah, so I think that whole, and modeling it for your kids, Christina said, you got yourself out of there and that's amazing. But when you have an abundance mindset as a parent, I've got 2 boys, I think that is something that your kids absorb too, just by default, is if you think that anything is possible, and you don't have to go around telling them and giving them all these dreams, is that if you actually, they model you, they don't necessarily do what you say, like Christina was saying yesterday, but they do what you do. And if you're believing that you can do it, they're going to believe you can do it too. So I think abundance mindset is contagious. And if you've got that awareness that you can cultivate it for your kids as well as for yourself. So thank you. Thanks for letting me say my piece.
Well said. Well said, Sabina. You're always very in the zone. Totally, Sabina. Round of applause, Sabina. We love Sabina. And let's hear from amazing Amy Hammond. Amy Hammond, great having you with us. And just tell us all what you think about mindset and abundance and react to some of the great ideas you've heard already.
Well, hello, everybody. Lorena, I'm just pulling up from Publix shopping, where it's a pleasure, as you know, and very expensive, with an abundance of my money now that they have over at Publix. Yes. Yeah. So it's an expensive grocery store. Anyway, you all are on the mark. Okay. And, we're talking about abundance. What we haven't spoken about is, or maybe we have, and I just didn't pick up on it in the first 3 minutes that I missed, but this is actually proven. We now have technology that has proven to us, the data is out there, that this is quantum, science. They can track that we are what we think, because when we start thinking, let me not go on my tangent, but when you start thinking a thought, it starts to, and I don't have all the language down, but it does start to, your hormones, your brain starts to believe, right? Because you start to produce hormones, and then it releases into your body, and then your body is a testimonial to what you believe. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Am I making sense? Because that is, so our mind becomes matter. It actually, mind over matter. Our mind becomes matter. It is scientifically proven that is what happens in our body. That's why it's really important for us to, keep our stress levels down, because that stress that starts out in all that, and then we start to feel it throughout our body, and then our bodies have rhythms in our heart starts to get erratic, and there's a lot of things that happen with stress, right? So, Joe Dispenza has an audio book that I've been listening to called Evolve Your Brain. And he has one, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, which is where I became all about Joe Dispenza, right? And this is, and it's like the power of prayer that was proven how it works, where nuns in Haiti were all holding little DNA in the palm of their hands with these little, what do you call the little glass science that they use in the laboratories. Well, they were holding DNA while they were praying, and the DNA molecules started to move. So energy. We are energy. We are made up of molecules. Molecules, 98% of molecules is energy. So going back to the abundance mindset, if we do what I did this morning and slip back, and that's something that can happen to all of us, I've slipped back, and I had a difficult morning emotionally. And do you know what was interesting is I think that my abundance overpowered it because I focused more on abundance. I focused more on great energy and the synergy that I have with folks like you guys and folks that are in my community here. And what happened was I actually wrote in my journal that I didn't feel appreciated. Nobody saw that. Nobody saw that input in my journal, but I put it out there. And do you know, when I got home, I don't know the last time I received flowers, but I received flowers from a friend of mine in Punta Gorda, a different city altogether. And the the note in there said, "I appreciate you."
Oh, there we go. There we go. I got a question for everyone. Put up your hand if you appreciate Amy. I certainly appreciate Amy Hammond. There we go.
I appreciate that dress. I think the dress is beautiful.
Yes, it is.
Oh, isn't that fun? It's Florida oranges.
There we go.
Isn't it fun?
There we
I
go.
know.
There is an abundance of oranges in Florida.
Abundance of oranges.
And you are a perfect symbol for it.
I feel like I feel like a glass of orange juice now. I'm drinking coffee. I need a big glass of orange juice. You guys have messed me
It's
up.
contagious, as Sabina was saying. Oh, I think Sabina was saying that abundance
Or
is
maybe a
contagious.
mimosa.
Oh yes.
Oh,
Amy
most-
gets it.
Yeah,
Maybe
more
it's
than most. That makes sense. Good.
Now, I just
Anyway,
want to
does
say,
that all make sense? Because we were talking about abundance, and we all are speaking the same message. But what I find really exciting is the quantum science behind it, because it's just proof in the pudding. Proof in the pudding.
Yeah.
It's real, and it works.
oh, love it. Can we give it up for Amy Hammond? Amy Hammond, you are amazing and love your work. And just want to check in with our followers and fans watching. Thank you. We've got Catherine W. from Carmel, Indiana. Welcome. We got Mike Armstrong. We've got heaps of people
Hi,
watching. Like, share, comment if you come in. Love your work. Now, we're going to bounce around, and we're going to head back to where it all began with the legendary Loretta Remy. And Loretta Remy, you are a powerful lady. Tell us what you all think. What are some of your reactions to the brilliance you've heard, Loretta Remy?
I'm not so much the scientific one, but I do feel that they were right about saying what we put into motion, what we put into our thoughts and everything. And I'll give you a little example, sort of like Amy, putting it out there. She didn't feel appreciated, and then all of a sudden she got flowers. I was kind of broke, getting ready to go on a little trip not long ago. And instead of focusing on being broke, I focused on where I was going to get my abundance of money. Mm-hmm. And it was so funny because just out of the blue, a girlfriend of mine gave me money that she owed me that I didn't even know she owed me. It was like a refund for something. I got like some money from the bank that I didn't expect. Like for like 4 or 5 days straight, I kept focusing on abundance of finances, and every day something came through, whether it was $10 or $100. And I felt that it was because I was focusing on the positive side and not the negative side. So I think we have to make sure that we focus on the right things to make sure that our abundance comes through. So if we're looking for, I know Christina's all into the dating and the relationship and everything. If we're focusing not being able to get a date, then we probably won't get a date. But if we focus on that perfect date or that perfect, love of our life and everything, then all of a sudden he or she, will show up and stuff. So,
Actually,
yeah.
We're going to come back to Christine Davey on this one, but I was actually going to mention this. There's been this, and I say this a tragedy. I've seen a lot of videos coming out on Instagram and TikTok. We have a lot of women in their 20s and 30s complaining they can't get a man, they can't find a man. And I was thinking this is fascinating. I just want to throw it out there because it's very alarming. I've never seen anything like it. So many young women complaining about lack of abundance in dating. I find it fascinating. What do you think of that one, Loretta? Obviously, we're going to hear from Christina on that one later. What do you think of that one? Because I know you're not a dating coach, Loretta Remy, but you're very savvy when it comes to dating. What's your reaction on that one?
I think it would go back to Christina and the goal setting and stuff. Sometimes we don't know what we want, so we can't find the perfect mate or perfect date because we're not sure what we want and everything. Do we want the bad boy? Do we want the the financially stable? Do we want a mama's boy? What? Like we want a little bit of this and that, and so we have to envision what our perfect date would be, so that we can manifest it and so forth.
And if I could jump in as well, it's like it's like an Uber driver. You wouldn't jump into an Uber without no destination. Just say, "Oh yeah, just take me roughly around here." You're very specific, and the same with the pilot. And so using that analogy is, if you're wanting to go somewhere, you need to be specific. An Uber driver will take your money, and it's true. The same with goals, right? If you don't have a specific goal, you will end up, and I've done it, spend loads of money on different goals, and instead of putting all your investing into one thing. And it's the same, that analogy of a driver, like the pilot needs to know where you go. Sorry, jumping in there, but
no, that's exactly it and everything. That's a good analogy. I like that. With the
a
Uber
great
driver.
analogy.
Yes.
Uber drivers probably would take you around, or a taxi driver, because they're obviously it's in their best financial interest, but probably not in yours.
Right.
Yeah, I think a taxi driver is more likely to fare jack you in Sydney. So there you go. So it happens all the time. No fair jacking. There we go. Love your work, Loretta Remy. Big thank you to Loretta Remy, powerful lady in the zone, Loretta. Karen Clark, let's hear all your reactions. I know when Amy was talking about molecules and quantum energy, you see Karen just bursting like a kettle, like. Argh. So there we go. Let's hear it all, Karen. The quantum lady.
Yeah, so you're all on the button there. As you know, that's my expertise, is quantum physics and the universal laws. And so let's talk about the universal law that you've talked about, which is the first step to freedom is our thoughts, because everything is created twice. So when you talk about not having a goal or not having, not meeting a man or whatever, what happens, unfortunately, is that we default to thinking about, like you said, Loretta, what we don't want, or the bad things about the men we've met, or if I meet a man, he's always this or that. If you're talking about a man, if you're talking about something else, then it's the same process. We tend to think about what we don't want, and what happens is the number one thing that causes an imbalance in the brain is negative thinking. And so if you want to look at what your thinking's been, look at your results, because everything that we're surrounded in, everything that is in our life is a result of our thinking. And the good news is that if we don't like what we see, we actually can change it. We hold the keys to change it in the same way. And that is by creating that vision, that goal, and being really specific about what we do want. So the law of non-resistance, alluded to the law of non-resistance is to focus on what you want You get what you focus on. That's the law of non-resistance. And what we tend to do is what we resist persists. We resist things and we focus on them and they persist. So if we learn that and go, okay, because I'm a motorcyclist, I love telling this story, real short. My brother and I used to go out riding, and one day we were about to go out to the back roads in New Zealand on the country roads, 1-lane roads, and he said to me, hey, Karen, he said, just want you to know we're going out on these really, really narrow roads and we'll be riding through those. And if you come around a corner and you see an obstacle in your way, which sometimes happens, it might be a tree that's fallen down, it might be a rock, it might be another car or another motorcycle. He said, don't look at the obstacle. Look at the gap. Look where you want to go. Look how you can get around it. If you look at the obstacle, you're pretty sure you'll have a big chance of hitting it. And afterwards, this was years before I became a coach and learned about the universal laws, but afterwards I realized that was the universal law of non-resistance. Focus on where you want to go, not the obstacle. And that brings in setting your goals, having your vision. And people don't do this because we think, oh, I can't create what I want because I don't know how to do it. I can't say I want that because I don't know how to do it. But you don't have to know how. The how comes later. When you make the decision and the commitment, this is what I want. This is the life I want. This is the abundance I want. This is the partner I want, or husband, or whatever you want to call it. Then the how shows up because the universe or God or whatever you call the powers that help us with this, they bring it to us when we're very, very clear, and that's from our thoughts. Our thoughts is telling the universe what we want. Our thoughts are, sorry. And so focus on, be really, really diligent about our thoughts. Our thoughts are what controls our results. Be impeccable about our thoughts.
Well said. Yeah, for Karen Clark, amazing Karen Clark, powerful and in the zone. There we go. Bringing it all together. Now we're going to bounce over to Christina Davey. And Christina Davey, also too, as a side note, Christina Davey ran her dating meetup last night, and there were heaps of people. Just want a quick segue. How was the sin and debauchery last night? Can you share any gossip with us?
What happens at the Sydney Singles social drinks stays at the social drinks for singles. I'm just gonna say I saw some people leaving together.
Yes.
I did too. I saw a lot of people together.
Oh, damn it,
I
missed out on all the cool stuff. There we go. I missed out on all the cool stuff.
I actually think it was the most successful in a sense that we had quite a few people leaving early.
Ooh,
So,
there we go.
I think that's always a good sign. But I just want to say how much I love being surrendered by you ladies and hearing your thoughts and how empowering. Like I really got goosebumps, not because, obviously we are all on the same wavelength here, right? And we've got where we are because we think alike, right? But what Karen and Loretta said, it's so spot on, right? What Amy said, what Sabina said, it's just adding, like we are all creating like a beautiful ball of energy right here, right in between us, right? And we are creating abundance right now because we are inspiring each other by sharing. And as Karen said, we are focusing on how we are creating it, and we are lifting our own vibration right now because of what we are focusing. One thing I want to mention again from my own experience is I used to be depressed and have anxiety, and I did not know that because I was seeing a psychologist and a psychiatrist, and they told me that this is it. Like, you can learn to manage this a little bit, but this is it. So they limit me by projecting on me their limitations and what they knew. And they said, there's no way of doing this. And when I realized I was on all these antidepressants, I was like, I don't want to take this for the rest of my life. And she's like, well, you don't need to, but right now you need to be on those because, you need to manage. And I'm like, well, I want to get off. And she's like, but you can't. And I'm like, what? So I'm like, watch me. I'm like, it's gotta be another way. It's gotta be another way. But I didn't know another way. But all I knew is that I gotta find another way. And I did, just like it took me about 8 months or whatever. But all I was, my sister at the time was telling me, Christina, these are, they know what they're saying, like, listen to them. And I'm like, no, there's got to be another way. I can't just be, I was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. And they told me this is it. And I'm like, well, it's got to be, like, I'm not going to live my life this way. All right. So I automatically, again, not knowing, but my why was strong. I'm like, I'm living my life, in a very different way. And
I'm jump in there. Sorry just to jump in. I can't. What a quack! Like, it's amazing. I don't know where you found these cereal box psychologists. Borderline personality disorder. What are you talking about? You're one of the nicest people I know. They're describing you as Homelander from The Boys. You're like the nicest person ever. How can you have a personality disorder?
Well, what I was at the time, I had a lot of the symptoms, like the fear of rejection, fear of abandonment, impulsivity, emotionally, I was all over the place. But I was in that spot because I was in complete effect to what happened to me, right? And I had no idea on how to get out of there. Again, there was no one around me, that was thinking in a way that, hey, you can beat this, you can do this. So I was told, and I'm sharing this because that's what I'm trying to say. Like, we here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 people, we are creating abundance right here because we are together and we are focusing on creating it. But when we are sitting in it, right? And because, and just to emphasize what everybody said in here, because I was focusing, I didn't know how to get there, but I was focusing on this can't be it, and I'm going to do something different, and my life is going to be different. Then I attracted something my way. I attracted these people. I had a friend who shared about personal development, programs. And then I start finding people that could help me, right? And I'm in a very different space now compared to what I was in 2018. But I had to have a strong why. I was like, no, my life is going to be different. I am going to have the relationship that I want. I am going to beat this. And I did. So I'm in a very different place right now because I stayed focused on what I wanted, and my associations with my life were positive. My life is going to be this. My life is going to be that, right? I wasn't sitting, if we are thinking, if our associations, I had 3 or 4 conversations yesterday at the meetup, singles meetup, with people who their associations with being in a relationship were really negative. Somebody that told me, I don't want to take care of a man. Somebody that told me all women want just money. Somebody else that, so there's like, if this is what you believe, as Karen will say, this is what you're going to attract, because you're creating that reality around you. You're looking for signs to confirm. It's confirmation bias. You're looking for signs to confirm that. If I believe I have depression and there's nothing I can do, I'm going to sit at home, close the door, lock myself in. And if I think about myself that I am not good enough, not worthy of any connection or anything good in my life, I'm going to try to protect and hide so nobody can find that out. And then I'm creating even more depression and anxiety. So just expose yourself to information, get out there. If something is important to you, change your associations about that one thing, about health, especially. Like, if your health is important to you, stop focusing where you are right now and focus on where you want to go, and start researching. There is someone that has a better idea. There's someone that has a better study. There's someone that has a better way of helping you get there.
Well said.
Yeah, well, I know one thing that I actually said to my husband. So we've had quite a bad year in terms of health issues with family members and stuff. And I actually said, I talked to my husband and I said, if I'm diagnosed with an illness that's terminal, I don't want to know. I don't want to, you should tell me. Because once I buy into that belief, it's all over, right? And it's the same with any of us. And I think once we buy into that belief, that we have no power, then it's just natural. It's just Mother Nature. We're just gonna believe it, and we do have power. And so, if I'm going to drop down dead, I don't really want to know. I just want to keep going forward and just keep going forward. And so I actually read a book recently about somebody, I can't remember who it was. It might have been about like Joe Dispenza, for example. His story, he was a chiropractor. He was thrown off a horse and he was told he would never walk again. The guy we met last night, Stefan, an interesting guy that Christina and I know, and Ed, but he was told he wasn't going to walk again. But it's having the guts to actually and I like to lead by, if someone tells you can't do it, I find it confirmation. That's confirmation that you absolutely can. And so just go prove them wrong. If that's what you need to drive you, just go prove them wrong.
Yeah.
Incredible. I'm just still shocked that Christina, that if Christina Davies got a borderline personality disorder, I'm Jeffrey Dahmer. That's all I can say, right?
I wanted to share that because it's such a common thing, it's such a common thing. It's a lot more common. So many more people are suffering from this, some other mental health. And, depending who you meet in the industry, you might be told that you're limited to this. And I just wanted to share that you don't limit yourself, because you can overcome whatever you want in life, or make progress. You just got to stay focused on it. And you just got to stay on, focus on creating what you want. And don't, sometimes we look at authority, a doctor or something like that, they tell us things, and if they limit us because it comes from this person who study and knows what they want, right? It becomes the law. If the doctor tells us, and I'm not saying, hey, ignore the doctors. I mean, they are,
do an amazing job.
They're definitely good.
Christina.
What I'm saying is just do the research. Get out there and expose yourself, because there's more than one mindset. There's more than one perception on a diagnose. And when it comes to money, more than one way of making money.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well said, Christina Davey. Love it. Just incredible. So there we go. It's amazing. I can't believe some of the things I've heard. This is incredible. What an amazing backstory. Now, I just want to say one thing I do say, I just want to make this quick slide point to support what you're saying. So a bit of trivia, I suffer from PTSD, military days. And interestingly, years ago, I was sent to see a psychiatrist, right, by the government. Now, two things, I say it's a tragedy. This psychiatrist was grossly obese, right? So I was being sent to see this guy, right? And secondly, I say it's a tragedy. I heard 10 years later, this guy took his own life, right?
Wow.
And I was very sad. So I actually quite liked the guy. But what I realized was, hold on a second. I was sent to see the psychiatrist that had some severe issues. What were they projecting onto me? Right. Yeah. So I just want to say, I'm just saying that in support of you, Christina Davey. I'm so sorry they said that crap to you, but I've had similar crap said to me. So it's sad, isn't it?
Ultimately, yeah, we are all on our own journey. That's how I look at it. And, we can only take people this far, when I think one learning for me was that we can take people as far as our limitations and their limitations. Sometimes you might be more unlimited, you try to bring them, but if they keep placing roadblocks, there's nothing you can do. Or vice versa, someone could be a client of ours could be more abundant, thinking in so many areas, but not in the one area, right? You can have abundance in making money, but not in love, because your past experiences are not good. So and vice versa, we can have abundance in love and health, but not in making money. We are all working on something, and unfortunately, sometimes who we surrender with will definitely impact our growth.
Amazing.
I think just as well is following on from Christina, is taking surrounding ourselves with people, but being conscious and being aware of what information we allow ourselves to I call it primary food, but the food that you get, which is like the information, is you've got to be really careful and start filtering it as according to how you want, because there's so much information on there that's misinformation, that's information that's not going to serve you for going forward. It's going to hold you back. So just having that awareness that, treat it as food. Are you eating a donut for breakfast, or are you eating a, scrambled eggs, salmon, and some mushrooms?
There we go. Oh, love it. Christina Davey, love your work, and big thank you, Christina. And this actually flows into legendary Sabina. So Sabina, love your work. As you were talking about a donut, I had a French croissant for breakfast, so I feel really good now. So I went all Frenchy today. So there we go. So no Dunkin' Donuts for me. We had a French croissant. Sabina, tell us everything of what you think. Go for it, Sabina. Tell us everything.
Well, I do think that information is food. So I did my, when I first started going down the nutrition line, I did holistic nutrition. And one of the first learnings, which I never really got understood, was primary food, right? And they call primary food is not about what the food is on your plate, but it's actually the information you have. And that is the number one thing that actually nourishes you or not. And that's one of the things that you have to be really just as disciplined about as what you are about, what you eat. Be conscious and being aware of the people that you surround yourself with. Even some of them may be family members, but try and limit your time to information that is not going to serve you. Think of it as junk food. Are you giving yourself junk food or healthy food? And just having that, there's lots of information online about abundance mindset. Maybe do an audit of your subscriptions, an audit of what actually, sit down, take 10 minutes and look at what information you're looking at. Is it donuts, or is it, eggs, smoked salmon, and mushrooms with some spinach? So yeah, I think information we forget about that in health is people aren't eating a tub of ice cream because they know it's bad for them. It's something to do with their mind, and we have to look at what information they're surrounding them.
Oh, brilliant! Now, Sabina, I love where you're going, and love to hear more of your reactions to what the great stuff you've heard today. What is some of your thoughts and feelings, Sabina?
No, it's completely my language, and I could talk about it forever, because I do think you are what you attract, and it's you can take ownership of your thoughts. Your thoughts are your own. You've got license to direct them as much as you want. It's an opportunity. So see this as an opportunity to actually sway your thoughts in the direction that you want to, rather than thinking about how we are negatives. I think we are programmed to look for the negatives because it's a survival mechanism, but we can override that programming when we're in safe space, like we're living in these amazing countries. So take ownership, take license of that, and use your power to start actually being a little bit more conscious about you, being conscious about what you actually surround yourselves with the information. That first thing in the morning is the first thing is that that's a great place to audit. What do you do in the morning? Are you feeding yourself the information of donuts, or are you feeding yourself the information of smoked salmon and eggs?
Yeah, and French croissants. There you go. Now,
just because it's French doesn't mean
There we go. Yeah. So I can't use it's French, therefore it's awesome defense. That doesn't hold up.
Gosh, I like how you just smuggled it. Oh, but he's French. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. That's why. So yeah, I love French. Wearing a French shirt. I just now I want to ask you as well, Sabina, just as a segue too. You also, I know, you were talking a bit about men's health before, and we have a lot of men's tuning in. Did you want to talk quickly about that segue that you were telling me about before?
Yeah, I would. I've got 2 boys, and I think it's really important to talk about men's health. Men's Health Month is June, the whole of June, and I'm going to take that. And I think it's if you're a man, or even if you're a woman, it's not just a man's. We most of us are married to have men in our lives, be it children or partners or husbands. fathers. But it's something that we all need to be aware of. Men, I was looking at the statistics, are, that the likelihood of them, they on average, the life expectancy is 5 years less. Depression and suicide rates is the highest, and after COVID, it's become even higher. Men are less likely to go to the doctors. They don't. I think we're in a society where that whole masculinity is, well, we don't want to show any weakness. It's not about showing weakness. And if I could sort of empower any men who've got children, particularly who've got boys, it's your job. You need to start owning your health, going and getting blood tests and taking care of your mental and physical health, because your kids need to know that when they're older, that men's health is a conversation that they can have. It's not something that's taboo. I've got 2 boys. I don't want this to be having this same conversation with people in 20 years' time. Is men over 40 and 50, they need to be going to get the screening shots that they might not want to talk about. They're easy to do. We've got so many, they're so easy. Blood tests, just go. I am happy to send you the blood tests that I recommend to my clients, and screening tests that you need to get done at a certain age so you can rule out things. Send them to a doctor of functional medicine. Just get checked. You don't want any surprises. You've got an amazing life, most people have. So, just take advantage of the fact that we've got doctors.
Oh. Sabina, can we go for Sabina? Love your work, Sabina. Just incredible. Love your take. And amazing. There we go. And let's hear from amazing Amy Hammond. Amy Hammond, love your leadership. Please tell us your incredible deep insights and react to what you've heard.
Well, I do not have a coaching certificate, nor do I have a holistic nutrition.
But you have the degree from the Amy Hammond Institute, which I think is very good.
Yes. Well, where I was going to go is, I've got life, and I have seen, what was the song about seeing both sides of it now? When you've got a youthful body, and and I've lived in California where at the time before the internet, a lot of new ideas came from California. Still does. The internet is changed, has changed that. So I was turned on to the organic. It's like, well, why organic? Then people would like, oh, organic, and thinking it was something that it really wasn't. It was just those of us asking for clean food, and I feel like sometimes I'm still having to have this conversation because I've got 2 teenagers, and my son is 18 and he is on board. And my daughter is 16, and I feel like maybe she is just rebelling because I can't even get that Starbucks cup that she goes to the Starbucks. I'm like, why are you buying Starbucks? Invest in Starbucks. Don't buy from Starbucks. That's
worst coffee ever. Yeah,
it's like with my Louis Vuitton. I've got one Louis Vuitton from 1980.
Just go jump in and make some. Loretta Remy's Italian, and you can say when you say Starbucks and coffee, you can see Loretta Remy about to grab her PC and throw it across the room.
Yeah. Oh, yes. No, I do not.
You're making Loretta angry. Don't talk about Starbucks. You're going to piss her off.
You're going to start sending me squirrels. I'm going to start going everywhere if we don't stay on track. So, so I do have teenagers. I am, we talk a lot about health and nutrition. I was going to say my daughter is more the rebel. I can't even get her to put that, in the recycling. I've got a compost pile out back, but the kids just don't want to get involved in walking the food in the compost pile. But the thing is, back to Christina, they. I'm learning not to use not so many words. I haven't quite grasped it yet with them because I feel like I'm an older mom, and I do feel like it's like, I got to get this into you before, I know I don't seem older, but I had them at 41 and 43. The point is, I'm coming up on 60, people, and I'm
Wow.
I gotta get this information in you people.
Oh, she's amazing.
Oh, thank you. I am a very young spirited gal for sure. But to Christina's point is they what you do, they see what you do. So even though they're not walking that stuff to the compost pile and they're not putting the things in the recycling, but they do see me and they do, that's going to live within them. So walk the walk, walk the talk, definitely. And maybe talk less. I need to start talking less with them. Well, yeah, there's that no, because I have noticed that. But I don't know what wisdoms you want from me, but for me, they come from experiences, as it does with this whole entire panel. And I've had a life of depression that has snuck up on me. I too, Christina, they had questioned whether maybe I was bipolar. And I remember looking at him going, bipolar? Are you crazy? I asked
I'm
the psychiatrist.
tripolar.
Sorry?
I'm tripolar or polypolar.
No, listen. And mind you, the thing is I'm not saying I'm better than somebody who's bipolar. The point is that it was incorrect. And to just like, maybe you're to throw it out there without studying me to find out, because I know bipolar people and I know the struggle. And it was very irresponsible is my point. I have ADHD, and it for me, it was so liberating to know that ADHD is why I am who I am. I mean, I'm this, awesome Amy, because I am creative and I am, socially, I love being involved in a lot of different, aspects of life. I do have a lot of enthusiasm, and but I'm also very genuine and very sincerely grounded as well. Anyway, I don't think you really had anything for me. You just kind of let me go off on this.
So trick with Amy, I know Amy well. So Amy, I like to let Amy go unchained, because as she goes on her unchained, she says cool stuff. So you just unchain Amy and she puts out heaps of cool stuff. So it's Amy Hammond Unchained.
Amy Hammond Unchained. I love that. Unchain my mind. No, but
Amy Hammond Unchained.
My background isn't going to let me do that. Living one day older. That is my goal is going forward with time. Growing forward with time is my tagline. And that is why I am here today with every one of you. This was really important for me to sit in on, because I do tend to slip backwards sometimes, guys and gals.
Who doesn't?
And I like wearing everything, and oranges on my sleeve and my truth on my sleeve. And I have slipped backwards lately, right? I've just trying to figure out where I'm going next, and this journey is the abundance. I'm just really grateful that I have attracted, this group to come into my life, for sure, because this is what keeps me going forward. You guys and others in my life who I am attracting, and I choose. Believe me, there are, because I'm such an empathetic person who likes to give, I'm very charitable with my time and with my heart. But I have learned the boundaries, and I have learned to say to some people lately, I can't wait. Matter of fact, I did tell a friend, I'll tell you what, instead of you telling me about your shit show, which is the opening conversation that I was offered to have, let me give you my shit show. I said, no, I'm not going
to the hand.
I did. Actually, I said, why don't you,
that's really good.
I said, instead, why don't you listen to 2 chapters of Evolve Your Brain? And then let's talk about that, because we could really gain a lot from that conversation.
Great.
Love it.
That's
Yeah.
Love
fantastic.
it.
Yeah.
Brilliant. How did she take it?
Well, he was offended at first. He thought I was putting conditions on how to
He
have.
blocked Amy on Facebook and LinkedIn and won't talk to her again. There we go.
No, but he did throw something, and then the next day he actually apologized. He said, "You're 100% right."
And what a cool guy. Can we go, Amy Hammond? We love you. There we go. Amy Hammond Unchained is all I can say. There we go. Now, friends, we are coming towards the end of the Boss Ladies Summit. And if you've been here listening, please like, share, comment, connect with these amazing, powerful ladies, and also Lassie as well, who created the concept. What we're going to do is we're going to go around our panelists, and we're going to finish up with a closing thought from each of them. So what we're going to ask each of our panelists is to give us a closing thought on how can we all improve our mindset and abundance right now and going forward. So that's a question we're going to pose to our panelists and get their closing thoughts. Let's take it from Loretta Remy. Loretta Remy, what are your closing thoughts, my friend?
I would say that we are all abundant in being a part of this group and everything. And we have to thank you and Lassie for that, Edward. So thank you very much for bringing us all together and letting our creative minds kind of flow and think, and the thought process and everything. Life is a journey, and I think our abundance is in enjoying the journey and not so much looking for the end of the journey, because unfortunately the end of the journey is not always it's the end. So enjoy the abundance of the journey itself, the experiences, the taste, the smells, and then you will always be in abundance.
Oh, well said for Loretta Remy. Love your work. Round of applause for Loretta, and there we go. And we're sorry we talked about Starbucks on this call. Your Italian DNA. There we go. A bit of true. I know a lot of Italians in Sydney. If you say Starbucks, they throw something at you. So there you go. I love it.
Let's throw out the word illy. Illy.
Illy. Oh, you're good. Actually, I drink Illy. I got it over here. Got Illy coffee over there.
I love illy.
There we go. Great taste here. Loretta Remy, thank you so much. Appreciate you. Karen Clark, what are your powerful closing thoughts, my dynamic friend?
Well, every time someone speaks, I think of all these points, and then a bit later I forget them. So I'm going to go here. I'm like, what was I going to say about what Loretta said, or what Christina said, or what Sabina said? So I'm going to go to something different. I'm going to say that we forget that we're responsible. Like you've all alluded to this, that we're all responsible for everything in our lives. Like we're responsibility. We have the responsibility. We have the control of controlling our thoughts. And so I want everyone here to imagine, or suggest a way to help with this, is imagine a list: ownership, accountability, responsibility, and then a line: blame, excuses, denial. Live above the line. Know that we've got the power, by controlling our thoughts, what we focus on, what we choose to do, to live above the line. That's my closing point.
And just on that, just to add to what Karen's saying, so we talk about above the line and below the line thinking. Basically, is this right, Karen? Below the line is victimhood and above the line is leadership. Is that viewpoint correct?
Yeah, well, that was what I just, wasn't that what I just said?
Good. Just want to
There was more than one though.
There we go. So basically, above the line is the positive side, and below the line is the negative side.
Yeah, victimhood, blame,
excuses,
negativity is below the line, and above the
Awesome.
line is accountability, responsibility, focusing, and vision. Vision. You've all mentioned the word vision. That's where we start. When we start with that clear, defined vision of what outcome we want, that's the start. And then we focus on it. Every time we lose it a little bit, like you were saying. We just notice, oh, why do I feel bad? Why have I dropped? Why have I gone down? Oh, what are my thoughts? Oh, let's change our thoughts. Let's go back to our vision of what we do want.
Oh,
It's like magic.
well said. Karen Clark, amazing. Love your work, and great Great sentiments. Let's hear from Christina Davey. Christina Davey, what are your closing thoughts in helping everyone improve their mindset and abundance?
Great closing thoughts, Loretta and Karen. Thank you so much for sharing. With me, I want to remind everyone that when we focus on what's great in our life, we realize how abundant we already are. So I think it's really important, in order to create more abundance, to also acknowledge how abundant we already are. So, we need to mention gratitude for what we have, gratitude for what we already achieved, no matter how little that is. And then the other closing thought that I want to share is that we need to really decide, what is it that maybe this year I can focus on to create more abundance on, right? And that could be health, that could be money, that could be mindset, that could be relationships, that could be dating, whatever, maybe parenting, whatever what that area is. Choose that area for the year or for the next 6 months, and decide why it's important to you, and who you're going to become in the process. Anchor yourself into who you're going to be and what you are going to have once you have it. And then just focus on the 3 little steps you can take towards it. Like it comes down to goal setting, or if you don't know how to goal set, just go and ask someone to teach you. There's always someone out there that can help you. There is always support. And the more you're telling yourself that, the more you're going to create support, abundance, friendships, relationships, company, money, good health, whatever what it is. So start focusing on what you want, and connect with why it's important to you to do it, and then those 3 steps towards it, so you can achieve it.
Oh, well said, Christina Davey. We love you. Power to you, Christina Davey. Thank you. And let's hear from Sabina Solowski, her closing thoughts on improving one's mindset and abundance. Sabina.
Well, improving is doing a bit of an audit of what you expose yourself to in terms of information, but also if you're a parent or a leader or wherever you are, professionally or personally, is you've got that leadership role. Use that as a platform and to boost your own mindset, but also remember that mindset is contagious. So if you have got a limiting mindset where you think that something is not possible, your kids, your the people that you work with will take that on too, especially if you're in a leadership role. So be aware of that. You have a platform. Use that platform to set yourself a mindset that is going to help serve you and serve everyone around you as well.
God, well said, and we love you, Sabina. Big round of applause, Sabina. And Sabina, thank you for your segue. I feel like a subway now. What's wrong with me? Thank you for your segue on Men's Month. I had no idea it was on, so there we go. We've got Karen Clark. Karen Clark had a dash. She's watching as a guest now. So Karen Clark has gone from the panelist to the viewer. We love you, Karen Clark. There we go. And why am I thinking about Subway? I need help. Sabina and mate.
The French croissant didn't make it for you.
Yeah, I need a sub. There we go. Terrible. No, but seriously, Sabina, amazing, and love your thinking. Now we're going to hear closing thoughts from Amy Hammond Unchained. So Amy Hammond, can we get some closing thoughts from you on how to increase mindset and abundance?
Excuse me. So often I have found throughout my life that I am someone like myself who, have been motivated. I'm constantly motivated to get somewhere and do this. And if you don't have the motivation, then what? Well, for me, and for really, those who are the doers, it's the discipline. You don't look for the motivation, you set the discipline, you set your goals. Once you have your goals down, and then you don't think about, when you're waking up it's not, you don't wake up when you wake up. You wake up, you set the alarm, and you know, you don't wake up right before your school class begins. You know, you want to give yourself a few hours before so you can set your day up. So it's the discipline, and then once you have the discipline, you start achieving, and then you see that achievement gives you the confidence, and then you're motivated, right? And that's what I find is when I have to turn things around, because I've been, you know, through my life, it's been motivation, you know, but I have had to learn that it's the discipline that will get me to my achievements. And then once I have my achievements, I am more confident in myself. And then when I'm confident, I am motivated.
Oof. There we go. Powerful. We've spoken about everything today: confidence, motivation. We've talked about Subway, dating. We've talked about top coffee, the worst coffee in the world. We've talked about men's health. We covered everything. So there we go. So if you want to talk about anything, look no further than Lassie's Boss Ladies. So I just want to say a big thank you to all our guests. We've got Loretta Remy, Christine Davis, Sabina, Amy Hammond. Karen Clark is watching as a spectator, and also Lassie, who is the creator and admin of all this. So I just want to say a big thank you, and stay tuned next month. We've got another topic coming. Ladies and gents and everyone, please make some noise. Love your work, everyone. Thank you so much.
Girls.
Bye. Love you,
Bye.
girls.